Yes, I've got it, I think. Indeed, the device is not a prison at all, but a catalyst. The wand to a mage, if you would. A means to harness the power of incredible souls, those suffused with experience and power into sufficient magical charge that even a fabled talisman might be left crackling with newfound might. And while, yes, it would take some time to craft such a device, more pressingly is the matter of these 12 souls. As for even among the figurative forests of the Royal Archives, I can only muster knowledge of 8 such creatures that might meet the ancient steep and immutable price as evidenced among the stars, and I envy no man nor woman that might face off against such terrible odds. The stars read of such: the wolf, the serpent, the giant, the knight, the watcher, the moor, the goblin, and the titan. The wolf that this speaks of is a fey spirit, if such a thing is to be believed, an aspect of primal hunters that first walked the lands and encompassed its savage and bestial nature, where it was born upon the very first act of treachery. Relatively little is documented about this creature, but it is spoken of more of a wives' tale or a legend among the savage folk and elves of these lands and their distant forests as a vengeful revenant that seeks out betrayers without remorse or relent. May the wolf take you, often spoken through bloodied teeth in a bitter and dying breath. In my notes I have a quote from one such forest dweller, a shaman of the name Moiral. Its howl was like no creature of this world, a shrieking death that pierced the night, and a debtor's knell that called to a lonely grave. The serpent. This, I think, is rumoured to have been a dragon, once altered with alchemy and other witchcraft. The creature itself is far more snake-like in visage than draconic, however, a beast of spines and fang that haunts the mountains of this land like a blight that clings to a village well, a nocturnal hunter, fast as it is deadly, and rumoured that a single drop of its venom is said to be able to fell a giant where he stands. Speaking of giants, the pattern of the stars here tells of the infamous Eagle King, the giant-kin chieftain of the Skyhorn tribe who rules the Roos, the very same peaks of Golodhar as that poisonous serpent, a raider and marauder through and through that preys upon the hard-working peoples of this land with his band of hawk-riding savages and marauders. A service to be put down to everyone in this kingdom, if you ask me. Next, the knight, a former champion of our very own Meteor Throne that rose from a humble mercenary to a hero of the realm through might, and might alone. Yet his hunger for battle could not be so easily satiated. The glimmer in his eyes was without pause, and when he had conquered all the enemies of our land so that none were left, he would turn instead upon his masters. In his travels since, his might has only gathered, drinking of the blood of dragons, and swelling into a half-made fusion of man and monster. Perhaps he yet holds some semblance of honour in his dwellings of the inner lands, but a menace, to be sure. The Watcher, an ancient thing, supposedly even older than our kingdom's founding, if such nonsense is to be regarded. An aberrant beast that resembles a singular eye with tendrils instead of arms, floating just off the ground with neither wing nor leg to do such. It prowls among crumbled old ruins in the forests, and is said that to meet such a thing's gaze is to invite death, as the innards of one's skull turn to a fine scarlet soup and dribble past one's ears. The moor, a hulk wrought of iron by the efforts of an accomplished mage, and the unfortunate folk of a village who found themselves assailed by bandits, sellswords, and slavers alike. To this end, a metal man was wrought, and imbued with a limited capacity for thought, so that it might discern friend from foe and defend its own people. And upon the battlefield, it was a raging success, a menace through and through, cutting down scores of such loathsome raiders and slavers alike, for swallowing them, gobbling them down, armour and all, to continue its operation without need of mana nor magus to recharge it. Yet perhaps the rivers of blood it gorged upon, the corpses that lined its gut, gave the construct a taste for such things. Its duties of defence turning to quite the opposite, as it massacred every man, woman, and child in the very village it had been wrought to defend. And now it wanders the plains, a thunderous plodding of a suit of armour that feasts on livestock and fishermen alike in its endless march, its unsatiable hunger. Cut from a similar cloth, the goblin, an unholy union between demon and cunning goblin. This swollen thing resides as ruler absolute among the tide of ravenous underfolk, as their lord and commander, for whatever nefarious affairs they wish to undertake. But it is not enough for this brute to simply feed and conquer. No, it defiles that which it treads upon, makes messages, trophies, or worse, slaves of its victims, it befouls the very air with its every breath. And last among the stars, the Titan. Few people of this land will not have heard of this particular figure, a towering knight of such proportions that its golden shoulders reach toward the sky. Mercifully, it patrols only ruins of the very town which it seems to originate from, but mark my words, under no circumstances should this creature be engaged. It would take an army to fell such an impervious colossus, an army we cannot spare in these trying times. But if one was still persistent, perhaps a quote from a surviving commander of our last encounter with the Golden Titan. I thought it strange that a second sun had made itself known upon the horizon as we picked through the rubble of what once might have been a library. Yet unlike the sun that rose to greet me each morning prior, this one was moving closer. This one had a sword. If these are the calibers of souls needed, it would take mighty champions indeed to lay them low. Brilliant warriors to be entrusted with the fate of our kingdom, of our world. I do not like our chances, but perhaps there is a way.